Hey guys, in today's exciting episode, I restore this radial drill press which just celebrated its 50th birthday. Welcome back to Master of None. Every shop needs a drill press, and I was on the hunt. I didn't want to buy something brand new. I was looking for a project, and I think I found one that meets my needs. First, something with some age and definitely needing to be restored. Next was something on a mobile stand so I can roll it in and out of storage as I need it. That meant it couldn't be too big and bulky. This Rockwell, or do you pronounce it Delta, is a radial drill press, meaning the head can tilt from one side to the other, as well as slide back and forth. From what I could find, this model was introduced in 1962 for their home enthusiast line. Serial number indicates it was built in 1972 in their Tupelo, Mississippi factory. They called it a 32-inch radial drill press, and its design is based on their 11-inch drill press. The 32-inch measurement indicates you can drill to the center of a 32-inch workpiece. Before I saw it, I was told it ran, but when I went to pick it up, I wasn't able to verify it as it was dumped in the middle of a backyard. I still wanted it, so I loaded it up and brought it home, keeping my fingers crossed. As usual, we'll be refreshing this to be a working addition to the shop, not a museum piece. There's some beautiful examples out there already from people who know what they're doing, so no need to try and match them. We'll need a new power cord, a few stop nuts for the depth gauge, and we'll want to replace that hideous on-off switch. There's also a few other bits to get, including more bolts securing the motor to the frame and securing the press to its base. A fresh coat of paint is in order, as is a work light. The stand, by the way, looks to be an original Rockwell model, so it's nice to see that extra bit of authenticity. Rockwell didn't sell a motor with this by default, although they did offer half-horse and third-horse motors as add-ons. So that meant you could source your own motor if you wanted. As long as it made 1,725 RPMs, you're good to go. This one came with a Dayton half-horse motor, and it can be wired single-phase or two-phase. That could be cool when I upgrade to a nice big workshop one day. One thing I found interesting was that there were only 2 wires connected to the power plug on this thing. That can't be a problem, right?
Motor must be grounded.
Well, fingers crossed. I'm not able to find any information about this particular model, so I'm not sure when it was built. Dayton is now a brand name under the Granger umbrella, and they still make a motor with these exact specs. It can be bought for a paltry $302, so I really want this one to be working. Ah, yes, the let's use creamy peanut butter to lube the bearings trick. With everything disassembled, I didn't see any serious rust and the wear and tear was minimal, so I'm feeling good that I won't have to hunt down and replace any 50-year-old parts. So now it's time to start cleaning. Everything will get scrubbed out with Simple Green to remove any grease or sawdust before moving on to the light rust removal. With the old paint removed, then everything clean and wiped down with acetone, it's time for paint. Everything got 2 coats of oil-based primer and 2 coats of gloss enamel. Strangely enough, the paint is Rust-Oleum's smoke gray color, but in the shop it's got a hint of light blue. Regardless, it's still a great choice. Anything not getting painted will be scrubbed down and sanded to a clean surface. I'm not going to try and put a mirror finish on anything, just smooth enough to show some of the patina. Here, I'm starting with a small cut of plywood and some self-adhesive sandpaper to see how flat the base and table surfaces are. They both looked pretty good when I was finished, so I circled back around with 220, 320, and then 600 grit sandpaper on the palm sander. I applied light pressure to prevent any divots and so I can keep the original grinding marks from the factory intact. Once I was happy with how everything looked, I pulled out the can of paste wax, gave it a liberal application, let it dry, and buffed it off. And here we'll give you a little sneak peek at the before and after. Moving on, we're going to do the same thing with the pipes and all the handles and other little bits that don't get any paint. And with everything polished and or painted, it's time to start assembly. that the motor is sorted, it was time to install the power switch. I didn't want cords hanging all over the place, so I came up with a novel idea. Run the cords through the horizontal column like what they do in modern presses. That would mean drilling the motor plate and the head casting cover, then making sure the cables don't interfere with the quill moving up and down. How hard could that be? As it turns out, it's not all that hard, but it is time consuming. After drilling the motor base and filing down the sharp edges, I took an extra precaution by wrapping the cords with Tessa tape. If you're not familiar with it, this fuzzy tape is used by BMW, Audi, and a few others to wrap some of their electrical cords in the cables they make. So off camera, I made this little plate after several attempts. This is going to go inside the head, be secured by these two screws that normally hold the work lamp in place, and inside will hold the wires out of the quill path. With the switch out of the way, time to focus on the lamp. I found this off of Amazon, and it came with a metal mounting bracket. After scratching my head for a couple of days on how to best get this installed, it dawned on me to get rid of the bracket completely. The flexible hose will actually fit in the actual slot of the motor plate. So, killing two birds with one stone, I'm able to get the power cord real close to the motor and actually use the same connection points for the main power cord. If you've made it this far, I really appreciate you sticking around to see me stumble my way through this project. And if you don't mind, let me know in the comments below if you like restoration videos where there's commentary throughout the process, or if you like the silent ASMR style with subtitles. I'd love to hear your thoughts and how I can do better in the future. So I know what you're asking. You're asking, hey Vinny, what about that all-important safety device, the belt guard? Well, as you can see, this is a really ugly piece of plastic from the mid-70s. In all good conscience, I just can't put this on. So I'm gonna get rid of it. And on eBay, I found this thing. This thing looks pretty cool. Now, this is not exactly from an earlier version of the radial drill press that I've got. This is actually from the standard 11-inch drill press, but the parts are so similar that it fits, mostly. There's some modification necessary, but I think I'm just gonna, for the moment, just ignore that part. I'm gonna clean this up, we're gonna get it painted, and then we'll put it all together and make it look really sweet. So yes, I will have a Franken press, but it's going to be so much better. I'll save you scenes of the scrubbing, stripping, priming, and painting and just go with the final touch. As mentioned, this replacement guard is not from an earlier version of the 11-280, but from an 11-120, one of their standard 11-inch drill presses. This was in production a lot longer than the 280, so it's difficult to figure out when this guard was made, but easily it's from the 1950s. This bolt is the final piece to this jigsaw puzzle, so let's take you back 22 minutes ago where we first started before we get to the big reveal. Well guys, that's it for this project. I really like the way this turned out. It took a lot longer than I expected, but don't they all? I can't be the only one. For you eagle-eyed observers, yes, I realized I installed the motor pulley upside down, so that's been corrected. Now, a couple other things to take care of before I can truly cross this off my list. One, refurbish the stand that it came on. I haven't touched it. I'm sure I can get to that eventually. Another one is to build a wooden table like they shipped it with way back in the day that never survived. And the other is to build a bag, a canvas bag cover, to keep this from getting dusty when I'm not using it. I'm sure those are right around the corner. I really like how I was able to get the power switch mounted up front, hide the cables inside, get the lamp mounted where it is so that it's always focused on the drill bit itself, and the upgraded pulley cover. It just adds a bit of class, I think. And for those that are curious about the cost associated with this project, I've got the breakdown right here. So the drill press was 150 bucks by itself. Paint and primer was 18, power cord and switch was 20. The lamp itself was 30 bucks. The bearings were 20. The pulley guard itself was 40, and consumables like paint stripper, grease, shop towels was another 10 bucks. That brings us to $288. I don't think that's too bad a price to put on something that's 50 years old. It's cast iron parts, it's gonna stick around for a long time, it's rock solid, and it's gonna do me just great. So the question I have to ask you is, For 300 bucks, would you put the time and effort into fixing this thing up, or would you just run to a big box store and buy something off the shelf? Anyway, that's it for me. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you in the next one.